Well, nice to meet you too. Okay, let's get started with some of the questions. But how are you doing though?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's sun setting here in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's 75 degrees out. Life is good.
That's good. Um, so tell me a little bit about the book.
Well, it's important to kind of figure out why I wrote this book. It's a children's book. It's called I Don't Want to Turn Three. And you got to think about living this past year during the pandemic, which was caused obviously by COVID-19. In isolation, except for being able to be with my kids and my family, gave me the special time to watch and interact with all these grandkids. I've got six of them. And I got to tell you, what a trip that was. The all six of these kids completely have different personalities. I mean, the one thing they do have in common, and I think it's pretty true of every kid, is a sense of curiosity. How excited they do get when they do accomplish something. And watching them grow year to year and how they interacted with each other really is the basis of this book. This book is based on a true story. It's about the six actual grandkids. What goes through a toddler's mind, and the parents are so desperate to understand. When does a toddler understand the difference between me and us? And that this book kind of explores how the family finds this out together. And I am convinced that this is happening in every family in the world. So the book is about how Jordan, who is turning 3, how he learns to share. And so I guess the question we should all ask ourselves is, at what age do you actually do take responsibility and learn to share? Is it 3? Is it 13? Is it 23? Or in my case, with a lot of my peers, it doesn't seem to happen until they're 63. So that's what the book's all about.
Do you have a favorite chat like a favorite part of the book you like to read to your grandchildren?
Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, here, I'll grab a book and I'll show you. Okay. This is the book. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
You've seen it. So, here's a picture of Olivia. Olivia, is she just turned 9. And in this one page, it says, then all of a sudden, Olivia screams, "What are my dancing shoes doing in Jordan's room?" The entire family runs to my private bedroom, and mine being Jordan. He's the narrator of the book. And Jackson yells, "My dinosaurs." And Levi shrieks, my sea creatures." Baker bawls, "Truck." Grace cries, "My dolls." And Mommy looks at me like today will be the last day I'm alive. So basically, that's just one of the things out of the book. But again, because it's based on a true story, it really is how kids interact and get together. And then more importantly, it's how the parents help guide them through that decision. And that's really what the book is about. That's why this is I consider, a great book for grandparents to read to their children and for dads and uncles to read to their children too, because it's just a chance to really communicate back and forth together.
Who did the graphics?
Oh, there was done. All the pictures in the books are based on pictures I took of the kids. And so I sent it to an illustrator and she turned it into more of a cartoon kind of a feel. But it's all based on real pictures.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. When you think about it, little kids reading books, it's really the role of us as grandparents and parents and uncles and aunts and stepfathers, whoever is involved with the child, to sit down and read with them. Because you think about what are the benefits of reading to children. Well, number one, you know, kids, are all over the place. So it gives you a chance really to bond with a child when you actually take a book. And, whether it's my book or there's 100 other great books out there, but I
Yeah.
encourage your listeners to, take the time every night to let the child pick out the book. I'm sure everybody's got lots of books in their houses.
Mhm.
Let them pick out the book and, bring it to you, and you guys sit down together and read it together, because it's a bonding time. It's a time where, all these other things, when you think about these kids are tied up with cell phones and tablets and television, gives them a chance to just bond with you as a parent,
Yeah.
to do this. Another reason why we as adults need to read with our kids is, it helps support listening skills. Now, you and I both know that over time, listening skills is probably the best skill that we can develop as we get older, listening to other people, and getting a feel for who they do and what they are. So, it supports listening skills by sitting down and reading to your kids. It really helps also with the cognitive and language development, because there's words in the book that they may not understand, or it helps them understand new words. They learn new words. So it helps with that whole development part of it. But as importantly, little kids like to run around. It helps with their attention span. If you can sit down with them with a good book, even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes, it helps them concentrate. So I recommend that everybody just take that time to read to their kids.
Yeah. I do have a couple of questions on here. Um, so you were what made you write this book so you wrote this book for your grandchildren, but is there other people would you want to write this book for? Anybody else?
As a baby boomer myself, I was trying to understand how the world has evolved since I was 3 years old. Okay. So that's also part of the story, is how has the world changed, from my generation to your generation to their generation. My parents didn't have cell phones. They didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
They didn't have cable TV. They didn't have remotes. So, I was my dad's remote. We sit there and he said, go change the channel. I was the remote. Okay, so that's a whole different world. The my parents' definition of discipline was entirely different than the parents of today. It was a different generation. It was much stricter. Has today's world made a better place for children to grow up in? Well, I'll let your listeners kind of answer that question. Are you treating, how are we treating our kids versus how we were treated? So I wrote this book for the grandkids. And to me, the reaction has really been invaluable. As you watch them understand Jordan's discovery. Again, Jordan is the one who's telling the story. He's the one turning from 2 to 3 of what right is versus wrong. You can see that the other kids have gone through the same dilemma. The younger kids don't quite understand the idea of sharing and me and us, but the older kids have gone through that kind of a thing. So watching the 6 of them react to this book has just been priceless for me.
So all your grandchildren are around 3?
They go from 1 till 9. So half of them have already passed 3 and the other half are going through 3. So yes, yeah, that's they're all, and what's interesting, I had 4 of them here last weekend. 2 from where I live in Scottsdale, and 2 were in from Austin, Texas. And the one who's 9 years old, Olivia, she took the book and took the 3 of the kids, and the 4 of them went and they hid underneath my desk, and they didn't know I was sitting in the other room. And Olivia started reading this book to them, okay, because she felt like she could read it. She's 9 years old. She could read the words. And Levi says, that's me in the bathtub. And Jackson says, that's me with my dinosaurs. And so it really, that was just great to see how involved they are, because they are the stars of the book and they liked it and they just love reading about it and sharing it with their friends.
Well, I wrote a book in college for my nephew, and he loves his book. So everything is good. What I've done, and because I wrote it in college, so so it has it. It just shows from like different places if in like where I would take him. So it's just like different places.
So
Yeah.
like, what kind of places did you take him in this book?
Well, I came. Well, I went to. Well, my sister used to live in Germany at the time, so I was there in Germany with him, and that's in the book too. Just little places like maybe in the future I'll take him to Disney World. So there's a little story about that, and there's all different places like I went to school in Delaware. So there's some little clip like writings about that, about my story of living in Delaware, and it's mostly because I used to work at a skate shop, and mostly he likes skating too. So I mean, there's little things in the book that he likes that I like.
How old
So
is he now?
he is 5.
He's 5. So did you notice when he was 2 and 3 and 4, did he get into dinosaurs? Did he talk about dinosaurs?
Gosh, yeah, he's obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's amazing. All these little kids are obsessed with dinosaurs, and all of mine are. And I have no idea how it started, but these 2 and 3 and 4 year olds can name every kind of dinosaur. As far as I'm concerned, they're small, big, and large. They can actually put the names to it. They tell me which one eats meat, which one's a plant eater. So
Yeah,
if you think about it, every kid loves dinosaurs, and I still don't know why, because I don't remember that growing up, but they do now. So this is an interesting story. As you know, during COVID, nobody could see each other. Everybody was kind of distant. We only saw the kids. There was a whole year. So I've got 2 grandkids in Austin, Texas, and I have 2 in Orlando, Florida. And for some reason, they all love dinosaurs. So we decided that we were going to put dinosaurs in our house someplace different every night. So one night they were in the refrigerator, they were eating blueberries. The next night they were helping grandma wash dishes. They had soap all over their noses. The next night they were playing the piano. Another night they were climbing up the steps, and so forth, and all throughout the house and the yard. So we put together 50 different nights of the dinosaurs doing something different. Well, as you well know, with your nephew, it's hard to get them to interact with you. You usually have to take the first step. You've got to do that.
yeah.
So all of a sudden, we started showing them these dinosaurs doing something every different night. And then what happened was the kids wanted to call us a night before they went to bed to find out what the dinosaurs are doing that night. So they would call my wife's, iPhone, because she could get the FaceTime, and they get on the phone and they would say, "Where's Gramps? Where's Gramps? We need to know where the dinosaurs are tonight." So those dinosaurs, for me, it was a very lucky thing that all of them were into it. And during the year of COVID, it gave us a chance for us to stay connected with them, but we didn't call them, they called us. So I would urge any of your listeners, if they have a way to connect with these small kids, something that really interests them, take advantage of it. Because, as you probably remember, kids remember lots of little things. When you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s, you can look back in your childhood and think, I remember that when I was 3 or I was 4. And that's one of those memories that you want to have, because it's important for, especially my generation of baby boomers, to connect to these kids, because who knows how much longer we'll be around.
Yeah, that's true. Let me see what else ones I have on here. Like mostly the questions you asked, but where can people find your book at?
You can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and about 100 websites that are out there. And it's I don't want to turn 3 with the numeral 3. My name is Gramps Jeffrey, Jeffrey. There's a site called grampsjeffrey.com, or go to idon'twannaturn3.com. So there's all kinds of places to find the book. And if anybody wants to just talk to me about raising kids or about the book, just email me at grampsjeffrey@gmail.com.
Okay. It was very nice to meet you, and I will have to get that book for my nephews and my niece.
Oh yeah, yeah. They can relate to it. I'm telling you, it happens with every family. They don't share. They got to figure out. It's happening everywhere.
Well, it'd be nice to have something at my apartment when they come, because there's not a lot of toys at my house. So
That's a great toy. And get him a dinosaur too.
yeah. Well, thanks so much for take the time out of your day to talk to me. Um, I I love your book, and hopefully you have a great night.
Good. Thanks for inviting me.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Bye.